customers are clearly driving the whole energy system to a new world. It's a new energy ecosystem, multi-flow networks, multi-party networks, and so on. Horizon Power, because we are largely a microgrid operator, it's particularly pertinent to us, and where we operate, particularly in the north of Western Australia, the impacts are being felt very heavily. In fact, we have a number of towns where we're constrained in the amount of PV that we'll allow into a town. Hopefully that'll change soon. So we've been slowly building out a roadmap of a new ecosystem for our energy future, which is really crossing across that whole distribution, generation distribution and retail value chain. What I'm talking about today and my experience and my area is, of course, the customer side. So I wanted to touch on that today and tell you a little bit about what we're doing, which will have to be a very brief run through, but this will give you some hint. First up, we have a couple of years ago, we did a full rollout of advanced meters. So they're not smart, but they are advanced. So we did that a couple of years ago, and I'll tell you a bit about the benefits to customer of that. But very clearly, that advanced meter rollout has given us data, lots and lots of data. We got into that project for a number of reasons, but we also always knew there was value in that data, and I'll talk a little bit about some of that value that we've been able to extract. So we now know at a customer level what the customer's using every 15 minutes, half hour, whatever you want to call it, 5 minute, even 1 minute at some stage. And we can start to aggregate that data to look at products and services that we can offer for customers and what value we can give back to customers. So let me tell you a little bit about our journey. So we started down the path of pretty much a cost-driven focus as a few years ago. We pretty quickly realised, yeah, we can get so far with that, but we've really actually got to put the customers at the centre of what we do. It's the only way that we're going to demonstrate value to our shareholder. We have one predominant shareholder, being government, and taxpayers are our real shareholders. So we've started to look at building customer personas. I'm sure you're all familiar with the concept, to represent customer groups. So every change that we make, we're looking at that through the eyes of our customers. We're also building through our customer journeys now so that we can start to identify the pain points and work out where we can give value back to customers. I'd have to say, overall, overarching all of this, the main value we can give back to customers is make it simple and easy. Vast majority of our customers really just want time. They want value, but they don't want to get too engaged. But we also have a cohort of customers that really do want a lot more, and we will aim to work with them down a path, inform and educate customers as we go. So from our pre-AAMI days, our main, pretty much our only customer experience was through a bill. Pretty horrific. They arrive every 2 months in the West. Notoriously bad. We have a large number of estimated reads, large number of late meter reads. Because we've got 1 million square miles with 46,000 customers, sometimes that's challenging. The AAMI meter roller has been absolutely transformational for our company, and everything I'm talking about from here on in has been based on that. So we've actually been able to improve the customer experience by making sure they don't actually have to call us when they get their bill, because that's really just plain annoying. So we've been able to improve the accuracy and the timeliness of our billing. We've now started to give the data back to customers and improve their experience and give them the opportunity to change their behaviour, look at the outcomes for them. The biggest issue we have with customers was bill shock. So particularly in the north of the state, bills double and sometimes treble over summer. It's pretty horrific, particularly when you've got a lot of new people moving there every year. Suddenly their bill goes double and what's wrong? The meter's wrong, something's wrong. Well, no, there's actually nothing wrong. It's just because you've turned your air conditioner on 24/7. And people just don't understand that. So what we're actually have done is provided that information back to customers through an app, website as well, so they can see actually how much they've spent to date and what their expected bill is going to be. That data there is actually day behind, but it starts to give customers the opportunity to understand what's driving their energy bill. We also have a prepayment product. We have a fairly significant proportion of Indigenous population, and historically they've been on card-based prepayment. It's been very popular with those group of customers for a number of reasons, but there's been a number of problems with it. Cards get lost, stolen, bent. Oops, pardon me, I don't know how I get that one. There we go. We've actually moved them onto an advanced meter type solution, so all the business rules, etc., are built into our metering systems, if you like. And we've also been able to, again, provide richer information back to customers, whereas before they could see their balance on their meter, we're now providing that again through an app or a website. So this group of customers is probably the most energy educated of all our customer groups. They're also probably the most disadvantaged. There is certainly a large group of customers in that space that don't have access to these types of tools, but quite surprisingly there is a large group that do. They can also pay on that app, so they don't have to walk, drive or get a taxi to a shop to pay their bill. So when you're in a remote community, it's very problematic trying to get to pay your bill. So we haven't yet quite fully solved the problem, but we've got there for a certain cohort, and we're rolling that out now. The next one I was going to talk about is a product that we've been developing over the last couple of years. Extensive customer engagement. It's MyPower. It's a demand-based billing product that's based on how much energy you use during peak periods. So you've heard a lot about how to engage with customers, keep the message simple, etc., etc. It's essentially a telco style, an older telco style plan. You get put on a plan based on your peak demand. Again, allows customers to understand what's happening on their premises, and we provide, again, further information. So during that hour, we can provide information on how much energy they're using during that hour, and we can alert them if they're going to go over their cap, if you like. So I could speak for hours on that. We see this as a fair pricing solution. So around about 70 or 80% of our vulnerable customers are better off on this style of plan than the old volumetric tariff. Now, that's a big challenge to roll that out, and we're obviously working with policyholders and government around that. And in wrapping, I think many of you will be familiar with the Energy Networks Australia Transformation Roadmap, which talks about 4 futures. There will be a massive change in the industry. We all know that. We don't quite know where it's going to go. What we do know, though, is if we keep customers at the centre of what we're doing, we will earn their trust, we hope, and we've got a much better chance of delivering a sustainable outcome for ourselves and for our customers as we move forward. So just to give you a bit of a snapshot of that, and hopefully you can understand the relevance to the Energy Charter principles, and it's something that we'll certainly be looking at as we go forward. Thank you.